Any man who scores 81 points in a single game is always welcome to my house. Right now, only one man qualifies. You know who it is. Kobe Bryant's in the house. Surprise, surprise. Next on Quite Frankly.
From the heart of New York City, this is Quite Frankly with Stephen A. Smith. And now here's your host, Stephen A. Smith.
What's going on? What's up, guys? What's up, y'all? What's going on? That's what I'm talking about. Welcome. I'm Stephen A. Smith. Thank you. This is my first night at a new time. Late night on the East Coast and prime time on the West Coast. It's a beautiful thing, ladies and gentlemen. It's my first guest is the one and only Kobe Bryant. You know he's in the house to talk about Phil Jackson, Shaquille O'Neal, LeBron James, and scoring 81 points in a single game. Kobe will be here in just a minute, but first, let's take a look at my top 3 stories with a little 3 and out. First up, bye-bye Brett. Vince Lombardi must be rolling over in his grave with the comments made by the Packers quarterback in a recent interview regarding his future. Following one of the worst seasons since he's been in Green Bay, Favre is upstaging Super Bowl week, wondering out loud about his very own future.
And there's other days I go, you know, what if it's crunch time, 2 minutes left, do you want the ball? I don't know if I do. And that's the things that I have to sort out right now. Do I want to go through another season like we went through this year? No. And there's no guarantees next year will be any better. If I had to pick right now, so once they just make a damn decision and live with it, I would say I'm not going back.
Bye, Brett. Bye. I'll see you when I see you. We're talking about Brett Favre, who's going to go down as one of the greatest quarterbacks in history, telling you that with 2 minutes left in the game, he's not sure he wants the ball. Now, I can understand him not wanting to go through another 4-12 season. But to say that you don't know if you want the ball with 2 minutes left in the game, it's time for you to go. I wasn't going to say that until I heard those comments. Bye. I'll see you. I'll see you, Brett. Goodbye. Next up, my mama Martin. Almost a decade ago, it seemed Martin Lawrence's career was on the way down. But he rebounded from his bouts of bizarre behavior with the movie Big Mama, which went on to gross $117 million in 2000. Now it seems Martin's here to stay as Big Mama 2 opened as the top movie in America over the weekend with a 3-day total of $28 million. Martin Lawrence is one of my favorite comedians, people. That's why I threw that in there. I've always loved Martin Lawrence. I still miss the Martin Lawrence show. I miss him. I miss Gina. I miss Pam. I miss finding out whether or not Tommy had a job. I miss all that stuff. I miss all of that stuff. I'm always rooting for Martin Lawrence. But by the way, just so y'all know, for people out there who expected me to get on a comedian, I'm not stupid. I don't mess with comedians, okay? I'm not trying to be on anybody's hit list. Sorry. Next up, 44 caliber in Cleveland. LeBron James shot down critics who questioned his ability to take over and win the big game with his 44 points, 11 rebounds, and 7 assists in a 113-106 victory over Phoenix. Late in the fourth quarter, King James had a big block on the defensive end, then sprinted back down court and skied for a back-breaking dunk to sink the game. I love LeBron James. We all know that. He's a stud. He's going to be a great player. We all know that. However, I'm not interested in what he does when, you know what, you're trailing early in the second half and you get a lead. I'm interested in seeing what you do when you're trailing in the last 2 minutes of a game and you know what the ball is in your hands and you're not passing it to Eric Snow or somebody to shoot a shot you should be taking because you're a bit apprehensive about getting to the free throw line. Last time I checked, when we talk about Kobe, when we talk about MJ, when we talk about a whole lot of cats, we don't worry about that with them. We're not even worrying about that with Carmelo Anthony. We don't need to be worried about that with LeBron James. I know he's a stud. I know he can ball. I know he's great. But the question is, LeBron, are you a closer? I don't learn anything about it with 10 minutes left in the game. I learned about that in the last minute of a game. That does it for 3 and out. But speaking of big-time scorers in the NBA, LeBron's 44 points was little more than half the amount Kobe Bryant scored in the Raptors just last week. Even before that, Kobe was already a rare breed in the NBA. Like Elgin, Wilt, Oscar, Magic, Michael, and Larry, Kobe has separated himself as a superstar among the stars of his day. but will his limitless talent one day place him above all who came before him?
From the moment he burst on the scene with his prodigious talent, style, and charisma, comparisons to the NBA's greatest player were made. And after he and Shaquille O'Neal fought and scratched their way to a three-peat in Los Angeles, it seemed a matter of time before Kobe Bryant's name would be etched in history alongside that of his idol, Michael Jordan. But that road would not be without its trials and tribulations. 2 years ago, his world nearly came undone when he faced sexual assault allegations in a court of law.
Disgusted at myself for making a mistake of adultery.
Not surprisingly, he found refuge and respite only on the basketball court. And like Jordan, Kobe's play would ultimately overcome all. The rift which sent Shaq packing to Miami, conflicts with head coach Phil Jackson, and a sometimes acrimonious relationship with the media. This season, with Jackson back in the Lakers fold, Kobe has been a man on a mission, scoring at a clip which hasn't been seen in recent memory, capped by his scintillating 81-point barrage in a comeback win over the Toronto Raptors.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have witnessed the second greatest scoring performance in NBA history.
So, how will Kobe be remembered? As the man who broke up the three-time world champions? As a truly great Lakers scoring legend? Or as one of the players who eclipsed even the great Michael Jordan? These days, it seems anything's possible.
You know what? I'm not even going to waste your time trying to come up with superlatives to describe maybe the baddest basketball player on the planet right now. Ladies and gentlemen, get up on your feet, stay on your feet, and give it up for the one and only Kobe Bryant. He heard you. I'm sure you're getting used to that by now. How you doing, big boy?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing good.
You know, last time we talked about a lot of things with Kobe Bryant, but the last thing we've talked about was 81 points you dropped on the Toronto Raptors. I mean, what were you thinking about? What was going on? Tell me.
Well, we just wanted to win the game. Mm-hmm. And, in that type of situation, we were down by 18, 20 points. And we needed some energy. And as a leader of the ball club, I have to provide that spark when we're lacking something. And that's what I tried to do, and then it just turned into something special.
Now, that sounds good, and I'm not denying that. I know that's true. The difference is that I watched that game, Kobe, and with about 3 minutes left, you knew y'all were going to win the game. I mean, you overcame like a 14-point deficit, came back, and you basically demoralized them, which is what you like to do. When did you know that you were going for 80?
Well, when I had about 77 points in the crowd. And the crowd just got into it, and my teammates just got into it, and they wanted to see me go for it, and that's what I tried to do.
You know, when you talk about the 81 points, I mean, obviously that's second to Wilt Chamberlain. I put that performance second. Let me just reveal what I feel. Not Wilt's 100 points. Michael Jordan's 63 against Boston in a playoff game. I put right up there. Do you think it should rank number 1 all time, number 2 all time, number 3 all time? What do you think of it? Do you think about that at all?
I don't think about it much. I mean, I just go out there and just try to play the game. As a fan, it's much easier for me to judge, what Michael did and what Larry's done and what Magic have done in the playoffs, just as a fan. Because, I watch those games. It's much harder for me to judge my own performance.
But I'm not talking about while you were playing. I'm talking about after you know you've done it and y'all already win the game and you go back home and you think and reflect on what you've accomplished.
Right. No, I think it was I think it was entertaining for people to watch. But you look at what Michael's done in the playoffs. You look at what Magic and Larry and those guys have done in the playoffs. Putting those type of performances up you know, in the playoffs is another thing, and hopefully we can, you know, get there and you know, have a good showing in the playoffs ourselves.
Right. Now, not to sour your mood at all, but as a matter of fact, I don't think this will sour your mood. I mean, Vince Carter had something to say. Vince Carter, of all people, had something to say about your 81 points performance. Let me read this quote to you. The only bad thing about it is that younger kids whose minds are easily warped are going to think, oh, I'm going to go out there and do it instead of the team concept first. Vince Carter said this about your 81-point performance. When you hear a comment like that, especially coming from a guy who's known for, you know, dropping 50 and dunking on people, but not exactly the most fundamentally sound ball player in the world, what thoughts come to your mind?
Well, I just really let it go in one ear and go out the other. You know, I think if, you know, people who were watching the game, you know, knew what that game was about. They knew what I had to do to kind of get us back in the game. And at the end of the day, it's about winning the game. And we won. There's nothing else to be said.